we wanted to have a farm-based business. So we wanted to invite people to this property and make it feel like you were visiting your friend's family farm. It was kind of the idea. That was the seed of it all. And when we lived in Eugene, we were making cider from a pear tree in our backyard. And we could be a cidery on the Point Trail. And that seemed like a pretty exciting, innovative, and different thing.
Yep. Yeah, it's to complement, having a cidery here in the Applegate Valley is complementary to the other farm-based businesses. Perry is cider made from 90% or more pear juice. And pears are really usually on the dry side, not really sweet. And so that's something that we wanted to bring to the cider market down here in Oregon, but also in Southern Oregon in particular. Again, complementary to the others that are in the neighborhood.
In terms of deciding to make Perry, this area has a long history of growing pears. There certainly was apple cultivation in the greater Oak Valley, but for the most part, it's been pears. And we've had a number of really beautiful Perrys. Starting when we were first considering a cidery, we started trying Perrys from Normandy and other parts of France and England, and really were impressed with how different it was, how light it was, how refreshing it was, and completely different than an apple-based cider. We're the only cidery in Oregon that specializes in making Perry. Other cideries make Perry, but we're the only one that makes Perry only. And we also wanted to celebrate the region's, kind of agricultural heritage. We just really do want to use local Rogue Valley, Applegate Valley as much as possible fruit. But we had been making cider commercially starting in 2018. So every October on farm, we use pears. Starting in 2019, we started using our own fruit as well, but bringing pears to the farm, juicing them, and then doing ferments. And in terms of fermentation, we started the first year focusing on a barrel-aged and a rosehip infused Perry, which was in wine bottles. We did them in 750 ml bottles. And we did that so that we could double up with equipment that was already going to be here and not bring in or try and transport the cider to be canned. In 2019 harvest, we started canning. And we did that because even though you make cider like wine, you really need to sell cider like beer for the most part.
People think of cider more like beer, even though cider is actually more like wine. Right? Cider doesn't get brewed, it gets fermented just like wine. It's just basically it's a fruit wine. So.
And essentially that's mostly because of the ABV. Canning is very, starting off with just a few hundred cases, and we've canned a couple of years well over pushing 1,500 cases.
Did you say Oregon pears are the Oregon state fruit?
No.
Yeah, that's another reason.